Oh, hey, welcome to our thought of the week. This is slightly longer than usual, and I had something else prepared for this week originally, but due to recent events and the current thoughts which are being circulated around George Floyd and the conversation that is becoming Black Lives Matter, I felt it was important to provide a perspective. The two things that I'm aware of that are causing people frustration and encouraging an activist approach are linked to these two specific things: injustice and race. Injustice and race, it's hard to remember a time where these two things weren't typically linked together. Some may suggest that we've come quite far on this road to equality, yet the argument doesn't stop at the rights which we're entitled to or unentitled to. Rather, it's linked to the injustice that is served to one race versus another race. And it's quite clear that from that alone, we stand in anything but equality. We need to take time to understand. To understand, we must take time to engage in conversation. Our social bias is something that is distorted through a learned system that separated human race into separate communities, creating an us versus them mentality, which means that the way that we view people who are different to us is voiced in actions of difference rather than understanding. Yet what is missed and what is actually important to know is that all humans are 99.5% genetically the same. That is factual. Now, it's not up for anyone to say that they don't see colour. We all see colour. We see black, white, brown, etc. This isn't being racist, that's facts. We filter colours and we see that obviously. The issue, however, is our social narrative has informed our filter about how we should view those specific things, which has then led to a divide in our society. Yet filter isn't fact. The fact is we are human. We should be one. We can be racially offensive and not be a racist. We can be ignorant to what we say, how we say it, and blind to the ramifications of what's been said. When we've joked in the past and said, I'm not a racist, I've got black friends, that's racially offensive. We need to stop doing that. That doesn't state the position that we have. We can say stupid things because we think these things are the things that inform people of how we stand on an issue, but it doesn't. To inform people of a position that you hold, then you must be committed to acknowledging that we all have blind spots. You don't know what you don't know, and it's certainly difficult to comment on something that you haven't or may not have experienced. I will never understand what it is like to be black. That isn't me being disrespectful, that is factual. It doesn't matter how many experiences I have or have viewed. I am not a black person, and therefore I will not know what it feels like to live under the pressure that they experience. And therefore I will always come to the viewpoint with a limitation to my understanding. We do not know, we may never will, but we can talk. We can ask people about their lives and why this particular topic is important. We can speak to our black friends and the diverse communities on our doorsteps and begin to try and understand what it is that they're making a stand for. This does involve you. If you think that it doesn't, then you're part of a bigger problem, which neglects corporate responsibility. We're all responsible for the way that we live. We're all responsible for the way that we live our lives, and therefore, if you choose to do nothing, or if you choose not to engage, then you too are choosing to disassociate yourself from a problem that you are then becoming a part of. Not directly necessarily, but there is power in association. Let me tread very carefully and tentatively when I say this. This should not be an opportunity for condemnation. I've read some things recently and I've become uncomfortable by a saying which went along these lines. If you're white and don't say anything, then you're a racist. This isn't true. I agree with speaking up. I agree with informing people. However, informing one set of people shouldn't then provide us with the opportunity to accuse another set of people. White silence is not pro-racism. Perhaps we haven't realised the necessity before to engage, and that is ignorant. But that doesn't make anyone a racist. I held my hands up and will be the first to say that we have a duty to pay attention. To be part of the solution, we will need to unlearn what we know about a societal system and what makes us different, and look at what binds us together. Regardless of colour, race, or anything else, we will all be sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, employed and unemployed, hurt by a system. Injustice is often used in the context of being one word, injustice. It's defined as something which lacks fairness. Yet what we can do is we can separate the word injustice into two separate words. So you have, rather than just injustice as one word, you have injustice. And therefore we can look at it like this. In justice, we can stand as one. In justice, we can stand in the things that matter to our brothers, sisters, friends and family. In justice, we can begin to have conversations that educate, not discriminate. In justice, we can stand for things as one community, as one human race. In justice, we can take time to learn and unlearn and relearn the things that we thought that we knew, but we really are now realising that we haven't paid attention to. In justice, we can make it a priority to be above board, to seek out honesty, to promote equality, to learn about diversity, to stand arm in arm and hand in hand. There is no greater time than now, and now is greater than any other time. It is today where you can be involved in a conversation to create awareness and change. And you can do this by signing petitions and being active off screen as well as being active on screen. I don't normally add any scripture into these thoughts, but to provide some clarity for how I see things at the moment, it's important to provide a perspective from a Christian. So therefore Christians profess to believe that we're all made in one image, and that's founded in the beginning of the book of Genesis, which is the first book in the Bible. And there was no dividing colour at the beginning of time, and there shouldn't be now. Christians know that the God which is portrayed in the Old Testament is one for justice. When the prophets, who were a group of people who were supposed to hear from God and speak in their masses, when they spoke, they proclaimed that justice should be fought for and found. In the New Testament, Jesus came for the unexpected person, which means that he defied all odds, all cultural barriers, and sought to make it his mission to promote inclusivity. Paul, an apostle, wrote about a new order where there wouldn't be things that separated or caused division. Yet there would be one cause and one order which promoted that we were all one in the eyes of God. And not only that, Jesus wasn't white. He did not promote a prejudice. Now, forgive me if you think that I've used this opportunity to preach. That is not my intention. For those of you who will know me will know that it is in my heart to see lives accepted, transformed, and better than what they may be right now. Over these last few days, I was unnerved about whether I should comment on such an issue, but I see it as my duty to engage in a conversation that is a much needed one to be had. So let me reiterate this. Injustice is something that lacks fairness. Yet if we split this word into two, injustice, we can stand for more than what we lack. We can stand for more than what we lack. Thanks for joining. Take care.